Welcome back, everyone. It is time for some Overwatch 2 action. I'm back on the broadcast. I'm so excited to bring some Overwatch 2 action for the TEC High School League, and I'm back with Lord Thief, and who else?
I mean, Joker, I didn't know if you were coming back, man. You were gone last week, and I had a lot of fun casting with Julian, who is actually on twitch.tv/ I think it's TEC High School Group. So if you guys want to catch more of him, he's hanging out over there. But you're right, Joker. For today, it's you and me back in it, back at it again. And today we're watching some pretty spectacular matchups, if I do say so myself. The first of which is going to be Hollidaysburg versus the Greater Johnstown area. And Hollidaysburg, I think you might remember, Joker, we weren't able to watch a lot of them last season. They've had I'm checking the standings here, and they've actually had they had a good first week. So here against Johnstown, who I actually got to miss last week, I'm really excited to see what the fruit that this matchup produces.
Yeah, it should be really good. Both teams 1-0 here to start the season off. Obviously, it has only been 1 week, but still, it is a matchup of undefeated teams. And, well, Greater Johnstown was one of the better teams from last year. They did go against a juggernaut in Forest Hills in the grand finals in the spring season. But still, it looks like they've gotten pretty much most of the same roster together here still.
Yeah, so let's take a look at that roster, actually. Here, representing the Greater Johnstown area, Hollidaysburg. We'll be looking at Jack Attack on the tank role. That's Jack, no surprise there. Nick, also known as V-Snipes, and Brady, also known as Cornrow, are going to be taking up the damage role. Meanwhile, supported by their team by Alex, a.k.a. TTV Pekka, and an Interstellar. I unfortunately don't have a name for them. They're just Interstellar to me today, Joker.
I mean, hey, like we said, we don't really know much about this team. They were in Division 2, I believe, last year. So it's going to be interesting to see how they work going forward against these other teams, as this is the team that we know about more. We've got Cherry Bloom on that tank, Jared, Brennan, River Galaxy, that's a name I definitely remember from last year. Cooper, who was Trojan 1, who is also an observer/producer for the TEC High School League, which is, so shout out. Zeke, who's Trojan 4 on the support and Game Genix, another person I remember from last year from Greater Johnstown.
Yeah, it's the squad back at it, Joker, just like you and me, returning for this season, and returning into a very similar set of maps as well. Taking a look at the maps that we'll be able to watch today, we'll have Up, to 3 maps played, starting off on the control point game mode Nepal, moving on to the wide open plains and the narrow corridors of the city of Junkertown, finally coming to a resting place on the push game mode. One of the teams will find victory in the series on Colosseo. Hopefully we get to that 3rd map. Joker, you and I have constantly gone back and forth about how elusive and mystical it is, but we'll have to get there whenever we get there, Joker. And I guess as well, just so that I don't miss it, this is only one game of 2 that you and I will be bringing here, Joker. So we'll be able to watch Bishop Carroll Blue versus Winber at the conclusion of this series, I think after a short break. But I'm pretty sure that that's all the information that I've got, Joker. I'm ready to hop in a game.
I definitely am too. I'm really excited to see Nepal here to start things off. I saw it the other day in a different league, and it's really interesting. I'm excited to see how these teams have adapted to Overwatch 2, especially with the one tank. There's no off tank to peel for your supports any longer. And as well as how are they going to do with what tanks are being meta currently as well. And obviously with DPS, with Sojourn and Genji just being so prevalent as well as on top of Sombra.
Yeah, you know, we got the new patch, the October patch here, and that did not come with a set of balance changes. So there is not really any reason to not expect some of those powerful heroes, the Sombra, the Genji. I'm a little surprised, and I guess not surprised at the same time, to not see any Zarya here in the lineup and amongst the 2 tank players today, Cherry Bloom and Jack Attack, opting for instead the main tanking style, highly aggressive, able to open up the fight rather than to open up one angle. Those angles are going to be contributed towards by River Galaxy and Zeke, taking to the skies of the devastating Pharmercy duo. Meanwhile, you do have Cornrow and V-Snipes here on the Reaper and the Genji for Holidaysburg, so that they just pump all the damage there into Cherry Bloom when they dive.
It's interesting. I was not expecting a Mercy more support combo from both of these two teams.
It's viable now.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is viable. It's just not what I was expecting to see, as River Galaxy started things off early on with a nice pick onto Interstellar, taking out that Mercy from the side of Holidaysburg, but it's going to be turned around immediately by Holidaysburg. They get 2 picks of their own. V-Snipes on the Genji, just going ham, as they are going to take this first fight.
Yeah, early lead here established for Holidaysburg. Definitely off of some playmaking potential there from the Genji. Very nice to see if you play the hero himself. It's nice to see him finally playable. It's been a long time since Genji has really been a decent pick, and V-Snipes is making him work in a big way, already leading the lobby to ultimate charge. So we'll be able to see that Dragon Blade drawn from its sheath quite soon.
Yeah, it should be really interesting to see if they can get the value. Still can be a deadly ultimate, but right now we're seeing a tank battle coming in from both the Holidays, from Jack Attack and Cherry Bloom, and trying to jive for position. And is it going to be Greater Johnstown who comes out on top? But the res is going to be there, so it's all even. No, sorry, it's going to be up on Holidaysburg now. V-Snipes with that Dragon Blade finding
double kill,
and that is going to solidify that fight yet again for Holidaysburg.
It almost looked winnable there as well, Joker, for Greater Johnstown, because it looked like TTV P.E.K.K.A, that is Alex, needed to stand still for a moment, get their bearings maybe, or take a drink of water, and so they were just kind of hanging out there for a moment. But getting the Dragon Blade out of that fight here is a boon for Greater Johnstown. It means that they can really engage into this next one without having to worry about that. But Joker, they've got 4 other ults that they're going to have to contend against.
And they've got the Shatter online, which is probably going to be the go sign for Holidaysburg. With no shield on the board for Greater Johnstown, it's going to be a free Shatter coming in from Jack Attack. But now they're just going to go for the charge in. Nothing, no ultimates have been used yet, and they're losing this fight because of it. There goes the Death Blossom, however. The dash is through by V-Snipes. Just going to clean up the kills from Cornrow.
That's what you're going to get, Joker, when you remove a tank from the game and you restore or maybe grant a little bit of individual agency to each of these heroes. It turns the DPS role, these damage dealers, from the worst hero category to well, slightly better of the version of that worst role. Definitely tanks and supports are still the most powerful characters in the game, but there we got to see a glimpse of the potential, that playmaking power that V-Snipes and Cornrow are able to attain there on that DPS role. Saw it briefly there from River Galaxy at the opening of the round. That quick 2-tap there onto Interstellar was really nicely played. Ultimately, you have to, when you pick one, you have to contend against the rest. For every head you cut off, there's, I guess there's not really two more to take its place, but in some of these fights, it certainly feels like that. Heading to our next control point submap, Nepal Sanctum, I think that Holidaysburg kind of brawl style composition is really going to benefit from this arena. What we need to see is Cherry Bloom really find a way to open up these fights here for Greater Johnstown.
Yeah, that is the entire reason to pick the Roadhog and just to get a pick. But no, it's going to be V-Snipes yet again in the backline, finding both the Far Mercy duo. The res did come through, but they've lost the Mercy in response to it, as this is not looking good for Greater Johnstown right now, as V-Snipes is just doing it all here, Ethan.
Yeah, they're going ham on the Tracer. They're running through, finding the pulse bomb stick on the Genesis there as well. Sean is unfortunately down for the count. Didn't have the escape ability on cooldown on standby to avoid that ultimate from V-Snipe's Tracer. So this is a reset here that you're going to see from Greater Johnstown, an opportunity to.
Yeah, as they're gonna come in now is Greater Johnstown looking to get something going. They've got almost ultimates on the board, but it's not looking really good for them. They're gonna be running into some ultimates from Holidaysburg of their own. Jack Attack has the Shatter online, but it's not gonna matter because V-Snipes is already doing work in the backline, taking out Trojan 1, who is Cooper, as V-Snipes tries another 3K in this fight with a nice stick onto River Galaxy. The whole hog does come through from Cherry Blossom. They do get TTV P.E.K.K.A, but it's not going to matter in the end, as V-Snipes has just been doing so much work, as it is building up to 65% on the board for Holidaysburg, and they still have ultimates to win this, as they've got this Coalescence on board. They've got the Earth Shatter as well, but V-Snipes over-invested. They already out of this fight, and Trojan 1 Cooper has found in this fight, as they pay for it with their life, as they need to come back on, as River Galaxy now finding the space to move and take out the remaining opponents, as they're still investing ultimates. GameGenix did pop that Coalescence just to keep everything up and healthy, to keep that point in Greater Johnstown's favor.
Joker, earlier you said you hope we don't incur any technical issues, and there I go disappearing from the broadcast. So yeah, this is your fault. I'm still reeling over Interstellar's double kill when they pulled out the Glock as Mercy. Kind of cool to watch. But Greater Johnstown is in control at this point. They need to stay in control of it. They're going to use the Dragon Blade to help them do that.
Yeah, as they're going to get TTV P.E.K.K.A out of that. Cherry Bloom as well, getting in on the kill feed. A nice hook coming through, trying to get him off the side of the map, but it doesn't happen. But still, they get the kill on the main tank, and they're going to have to pull back for the time being, but maybe not for long, as V-Snipes has taken out Trojan 1 Cooper out of this fight. The res is going to be there, but the pulse bombs come through, and it's going to look for a stick. Oh my goodness! What a fill! What a play by V-Snipes with a 4K pulse bomb!
I've got no words. Sorry, that was when I was supposed to be talking, but I was still reeling from that, Joker. That was absolutely wild, and that's also kind of the unfortunate situation of being stuck by one of those Tracer pulse bombs is, it's the thing that I like to say, Joker, what the first thing you do is when you get stuck by one of those pulses, you take your hands off your keyboard or your controller, because you don't want to move into a teammate. It's that area of effect damage is absolutely lethal. So we'll get to see this expertly casted ultimate. I don't even see who that stuck to, Joker.
It must have stuck onto the Roadhog.
It looked like it went right over his shoulder, though, Joker. That was absolutely crazy to just yeet that ultimate there into a group of 4 people and get such massive amounts of value with it. You know, Joker, one of the things that I like about the control point game mode is that it's very even for both sides. It's a King of the Hill deathmatch kind of style arena. And so what that means is that oh, hold on. My camera, I seem to be a ghost on the broadcast right now. And what that means is that it's a great opportunity for each of the teams to kind of establish an early read on each other, a baseline on what they can expect as far as how they're each going to engage. And so as we move to the next game mode, I expect to see Johnstown to be able to put up a little bit stronger of a fight. I expect them to have a little bit more agency heading into the next map type.
Yeah, and they're definitely gonna realize that they cannot let V Snipes just run around in their backline. They need to be able to shut down that playmaker for Hollidaysburg if they want any chance going into this escort map.
Yeah, absolutely. V Snipes is I think definitely the biggest threat. And so, you know, you've got two options there if you're Greater Johnstown at this point, Joker. And that is either one, you find a way to directly counter V Snipes, right? Maybe it's another hero pick heading into Junkertown. Maybe it's a strategy shift. Your other alternative is to dismantle the rest of the team behind V Snipes, right? Cut off the lifeline of the healing that they'll get from their supports, right? Or deal with their frontlining tank first, which is very challenging to do so in Overwatch 2. There's only one tank and there's still two supports, so you're looking at a lot of healing uptime there. Ultimately, I think Joker, though, you know, as I mentioned, how hard it would be to dispatch the tank first in the fight to get Jack Attack out of the lineup, I think it would be just as hard to deal with V Snipes as well, just by themselves. So Johnstown's definitely got their backs against the wall here. They'll have the opportunity to get a little bit of an early momentum built up here on Junkertown, since they will be starting the attack. But it's a point of contention amongst many analysts is, you know, what really is the best side to start on, the defense or the offense? And a lot of people do assert that defense is a strong place to start, and that's going to be the advantage, maybe, heading into this next map for Hollidaysburg.
Yeah, I feel like offense is usually for teams that like to set their own tempo and just put them pedal to the metal and just drive them back as quickly as they possibly can. Get that huge time bank going in to really deflate the defending squad who has to attack second. But it's interesting. After that just how V Snipes was playing and how Hollidaysburg in general were playing, I feel like you've got to think that Greater Johnstown are a little disheartened, a little downtrodden, and might not come out with the best of performances here.
It definitely, and this is kind of an observation that I was able to make from watching Hollidaysburg last week, is, you know, Hollidaysburg does represent some pretty considerable adversity for Greater Johnstown to overcome. If there's a map that they're going to overcome that hurdle on, it's going to be Junkertown. It has to be Junkertown. We're at match point here, Joker, so something's got to happen for them. The key here is making sure that Cherry Bloom can open up these fights with a pick, utilize that kind of engagement style of the Roadhog hero.
Well, it's not working out well. Jack Attack has found the kill onto their opposing tank, and the rest of Hollidaysburg as well are just collapsing onto the side of Greater Johnstown. But River Galaxy is doing a lot of work to keep them up and healthy. Up and in this fight, as they've found 3 picks in this fight already, not make it 4, as Greater Johnstown seem to be on the upper hand.
Yeah, Cooper and Brennan both really performed there to make sure that the Greater Johnstown could just walk out of spawn there. Cornrow on the Symmetra is pretty interesting here. I'm not sure what the idea was behind it, but they are now onto this long-range poke style. You've got the Sojourn with one-shot potential, and V-Snipes on the Widow with one-shot potential, which River Galaxy is already dealing with.
Yeah, wow. River Galaxy is finally finally got warmed up a bit. 3 kills already for the Fara player of Greater Johnstown. 4 make it. Can we get the team kill coming in for River Galaxy here as Jack Attack is just going to try to run away as quickly as they can with the commanding shout.
Yeah, because the important thing for that fight, it was that, you know, you don't lose your tank early. But oh no! Joker, look out, Barrage!
Finding 3 again is River Galaxy. Veep Snipes does take him out, but Zeke right there, or sorry, Cooper right there is going to be able to take out V Snipes, and well, Greater Johnstown are really setting that tempo. Like I said, they were going to have to do.
They are, and I think that part of it is definitely going to be the tank matchup that you're looking at here. Cherry Bloom on the Roadhog, Jack Attack on the Junker Queen. It's very similar play styles here, and right now Cherry Bloom is definitely helping lead the charge.
Yeah, it's very interesting. They're still running this Roadhog. I mean, it's working out well. They're making the space that they need to. But Cornrow is now on the Bastion, who is recently back in the game and finding the picks that they need to stabilize on the point and hopefully stabilize on the defense if you're a Hollidaysburg fan.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Bastion was not available for, I think, the first like 2.5 weeks of Overwatch.
It's been a while.
He was there for day 1, and then he disappeared.
Yeah, people realized that you just didn't. You got unlimited shots in the turret mode.
Artillery strike. Yeah. Interesting as well to see that Greater Johnstown has forced. That is a nice hook. Jack Attack has to get out of there. Use the commanding shout to do so.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. Not going to have that ability for the long run as Greater Johnstown are trying to come back in. But a massive play coming in from Jack Attack with the ultimate of Junker Queen with Carnage. As that, or sorry, Rampage is the ultimate name. As Greater Johnstown
That's a beautiful hook.
Or sorry, Hollidaysburg are going to get the upper hand as Cherry Blossom trying to turn it around. TTV Pekka out of the fight, but the res is there as another nice hook coming in from Cherry Bloom. But it's right now V Snipes. The V Snipes show is coming back with the attack visor.
It's working.
The res was there.
That Joker is what we call a C9.
Oh my
yielding
goodness.
the objective despite winning the fight. I know I barely noticed it as well, and then I saw the and then I heard the sounds of the objective capture. That was crazy, and that's all Zeke's doing as well. Connected to the objective, flew under the radar quite literally as Mercy, and found the revive and the capture of that objective. It's interesting to me, Joker, how the Hollidaysburg team have been forced off of their strategy, right? Running the Symmetra and then the Widow and the Sojourn, right? Now they've fallen onto 2 hit scan heroes just to deal with River Galaxy, and that's a huge advantage here for Greater Johnstown.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. They've got these ultimates still on the board. Jack Attack still making this fight worthwhile with the commanding shout, keeping them up and healthy as they're going to force them back to spawn, but it's still going to be in the favor of Greater Johnstown. They have not closed the door. It has Hollidaysburg, and that's what you really want if you are the defending squad right now.
And see, Cooper there was trying to get the cart moving just to push Hollidaysburg back just a little bit, but they're holding so close to spawn, and the cart is right there, and there's so much damage as well.
Yeah, that's a
you
lot
can't get progress on.
That is a lot of damage. The whole hog now coming out, but it's only going to get Jack Attack out of this fight. Everything's being traded all around, but right now it does seem like it's got to be in the favor of Greater Johnstown just with this spawn advantage for the time being. But V Snipes is on this Genji, finding pick after pick after pick. But it's still really anyone's point. But now it does seem like Greater Johnstown are going to get the cart moving. But V Snipes has popped the Dragon Blade. They found 1, they found 2, they found 3. As is going to be a huge plays coming in from V Snipes yet again. But it still does seem great like Greater Johnstown are going to be able. No, they're not going to have the point still.
No, because the rest of Hollidaysburg's just able to run on. River Galaxy's Barrage might be able to make something happen. That pick onto Interstellar ends up being pretty important, but there's a Coalescence to compensate for that man disadvantage.
And V-Snipes is still alive, finding 3 picks. What the heck just happened, Ethan?
That is the close hold in action here, Joker. Keeping the fight contained to the respawning area of the attacking team, using the map as a defensive advantage. I gotta admit, it's a little unconventional, but Hollidaysburg is playing it really well.
Yeah, they really are. They really are indeed, as Corno's already found the first pick in this fight, and they are looking for more. Cherry Bloom does take down Cornrow. That could be huge. That's a lot of damage coming through, but there goes the Rampage ultimate on to the Roadhog, and that's just going to keep them down in the dirt for the time being, as they do get the res on to Cooper, but it's going to be a little bit too late. They're going to have to go back to spawn.
I think that one advantage that you might see here for Greater Johnstown is the Death Blossom that's on standby here for Trojan 1. Cooper might be able to open up the fight in a big way with the use of that ultimate, but first they got to find a way to break out of the spawn here, Joker.
They really do indeed, and V-Snipes is just making it impossible finding the pick onto the Reaper. Like you said, they needed that Death Blossom to open things up. River Galaxy trying to make something happen, but they just can't, and the res is going to be there. They've gotten River Galaxy back in this fight, and now things are going into the favor of Greater Johnstown. They've got all they need, as River Galaxy, after that respawn, finding 3.
I mean, that's the downside of the close defensive hold there, is that it's a highly unstable position. So, you know, if you're going to lose the fight, you're going to lose the fight. It's hard to bring that back into your advantage. But the cool thing is that you get quick access to the next fight and are able to open this up with an artillery strike and 2 picks.
Yeah, 2 picks already going into the favor of Hollidaysburg. They did dump all of their ultimates, but it does not matter. V-Snipes with 4, and that is the overtime bar ticking down. They've gotten the 3rd point hold here, and that's a pretty reasonable spot for Hollidaysburg to reach.
Yeah, especially considering that they were able to drain down that attacker's time bank. That just by close holding there, Hollidaysburg was able to just make sure that for that 3rd point push, Greater Johnstown didn't really have much to work with. Still, Greater Johnstown made the best with what they got. Again, forcing V-Snipes and Cornrow off the heroes that they had been playing. Cherry Bloom making more than a matchup against the Junker Queen. Jack attacks Junker Queen there on the attacking round. So now we just have to see the best parts of Greater Johnstown's attack emulated here on their defense. Here's the problem with that, though, Joker, is that we know that Hollidaysburg is going to emulate on their attack the best parts of their defense. So with V-Snipes back on the Widow, Cornrow sitting happy on the Bastion now that he's finally back in the game, it's gonna be tough to make sure that Greater Johnstown is playing the correct, the safest angles against all of this damage. But look at this, they seem to also want to go for like a quick first fight here. Look at how closely they're holding to the objective.
Well, they've got to do something. They've got to be able to take some time off this clock, especially with the explosiveness that we've seen from Hollidaysburg. They've got to do something, and that's going to be their ticket. As Jack Attack is alone at the moment, they're going to have to go back to spawn to stay alive, but Cornrow's now set up on the top as they do take down Trojan 4. They take down Zeke, but it is going to be paid back in kind. The respawn is going to be there, however, and this should open things up for Hollidaysburg as V-Snipes on the sniper character, on the Widowmaker, taking down Cooper. And that's going to open everything up for Hollidaysburg.
There are some really nice efforts here from Brennan from River Galaxy to kind of take advantage of off angles. I saw a really good magnetic grenade stick onto V-Snipe's Widow there as well. Ultimately, you have to do so much damage and find so many eliminations as a DPS player to swing that fight back in your potential. At the very least, you'll see a second fight here for first point for Greater Johnstown.
Yeah, and that's probably what you wanted, but, well, V-Snipes has already taken down Cooper out of this fight. The res is going to be there, but while they're resing their Reaper, the Cassidy is out of this fight, as well as their Lucio, and that should wrap things up. V-Snipes taking everyone out of this fight. That is just incredible stuff from the Genji of Hollidaysburg.
I can tell you, Joker, that Greater Johnstown is very much looking forward to the mid-season balance patch where Genji's gonna get hit with the nerf hammer just a little bit, a decrease in power level. But V-Snipes gets this game, maybe next week's as well, to continue utilizing this hero successfully.
Oh, but here comes the Dragon Blade. The Dragon Blade's gonna come through. They're gonna use the sound barrier to counteract it, and that's what you really needed to do. Shut him down at the source as Trojan 1. Cooper takes them out in the midst of that, as they're gonna be able to start their defense here on the point. They're gonna try. It does not look like they're going to be able to get that cart through. Now, yes, they are. That's going to be huge if the defense can stop, but it's not looking like it's going to, as the Rampage comes through and finishes people off.
Ultimately, that ends up being a pretty expensive fight here for Greater Johnstown, sacrificing the Deadeye on top of having to use the sound barrier. It is a particularly brilliant call from Game Genist, from Sean, to swap onto that Lucio so that you have a response to V-Snipe's Dragon Blade. But look at the disparity in ult charge. V-Snipes is already more than halfway to their next ult.
Yeah, it's not, well, Cherry Bloom's going to start things off. That was a nice play, as well as the kill onto the Rezzing Mercy, as the Cassidy of River Galaxy is gonna force them back to spawn.
I didn't expect that fight to go that way, honestly, Joker. It seemed like there was so much momentum that was built up by Hollidaysburg there that it was going to be difficult to find a purchase on an angle to play at for the defenders. Greater Johnstown really making that fight work for them, and they're able to keep hold of the Valkyrie and build that Riptire, those two ultimates that they can use to win this next fight. Oh, not anymore. Trojan 1's gone.
Yeah, they are going to get the res there, however, but it does seem like they're getting forced down immediately, but the sound barrier is there in response again from Game Genix to counter out that Dragon Blade from V-Snipes, as that is going to be huge. It's going to be able to help them stabilize yet again on the defense.
Yeah, in River Galaxy, this is the second consecutive fight that they've really gotten the opportunity to pop off like they wanted to on first point. So this is a really good position that Greater Johnstown is sitting in. They managed to not have to use their most powerful abilities in that fight. Once again, Cornrow is kind of forced off of the hero that they were playing, and V-Snipes shut down out of another Dragon Blade.
Yeah, they are going to get the stick with the sticky grenade, and that's going to be huge. V-Snipes is out of the fight yet again, and the res is going to be there for River Galaxy. So the trade doesn't really even matter, as the commanding shout does come through, but it's not going to keep your Mercy up and healthy for long, and they're going to have to reset yet again.
And now there's only about 2 minutes remaining, little less than here for Hollidaysburg attack. They've got ultimates to work with here in this next fight, those bright blue check marks lighting up on their screen. The important thing, however, is that with Zeke's Valkyrie, they're going to be able to mitigate a lot of the damage that'll come in from those ultimates. So it might get shut down by Cornrow's Tactical Visor, but we'll have to see. Watch this fight play out.
Well, Cornrow is super low at the moment, so they're going to have to get healed up, but that's a huge ultimate coming through. Oh my goodness! 4 kills coming in from Greater Johnstown using their DPS ultimates, as Jack Attack did pop a very good Rampage, but it was just shut down immediately.
Yeah, no follow-up for that Rampage, because the 2 DPS ultimates from Greater Johnstown were so expertly utilized there. Really good stuff to make sure that there wasn't follow-up there.
Yeah, they're going to try to come back here yet again. They've got to use these ultimates, and they got to use them now. And they're going to pop the first. They're going to pop the Tac Visor, find 2, and this should open things up now. The Dragon Blade going to come out just to finish things off. It's just the Roadhog left, but V-Snipes does go down. But it should be enough for Hollidaysburg. If they can get a forward enough hold, this should be the point in their favor.
There might be an opportunity to...
I don't think they're going to take it.
No, there isn't a chance. Or maybe if there was, you're right. The call from Greater Johnstown was to not take it. This is looking a little more dreary, however, for Greater Johnstown. There's only so much distance to cross for this objective to reach the end of this map and the end of the series.
The bright side is there is only a minute and 40 to get to that edge, and 2 fight wins for the side of Greater Johnstown. But they need that's not it. That's not what you need. V-Snipes is already finding 2 picks in this fight, looking for a 3rd with this Dragon Blade, and that is gonna be massive. They're gonna get the kills, all the kills they need, with another Dragon Blade to finish things off, as this should be Hollidaysburg capping this, unless we see a miraculous touch coming through, and I think we might be able to here, Ethan.
You gotta walk forward, Cherry. I know you're taking damage, but you gotta touch. You gotta get on that point.
Well, GameGenix did touch, and Cherry Bloom does take down V-Snipes, but they are going to get the res, but it's not going to matter. That's going to be huge picks coming in response, and the res as well. The Shatter does come out from Jack Attack, but they don't have much of way of damage on the board any longer, and they are going to be able to hold on for the time being. There's 30 seconds left now, but the respawns are coming through now for Hollidaysburg, but they're going to regroup.
Yeah, they have to. They have to take this fight as 5 so that they can maximize the value that they're going to get out of this Valkyrie for Interstellar and the Visor for Cornrow. Cornrow can't die early here, but they're making dangerous treads here on this objective. Fortunately for them, Cherry Bloom doesn't hit the hook.
V-Snipes takes down Trojan 4. Zeke is out of this fight. They need to take down River Galaxy, and they do. V-Snipes with a huge pick. Now Corno popping that tactical visor has cemented this victory for Hollidaysburg, as they just kill off Cherry Bloom, as the overtime bar does start ticking, but it is still Hollidaysburg finding the victory.
We got to see really well, though, Joker, how hard Greater Johnstown fought for that last map on Junkertown. For us, Joker, it means that, unfortunately, we don't get to that map 3. I think I haven't gotten to see the other streams, but I don't think that we've gotten to see the push game mode on any of the broadcasts that we've had so far. At least for this series, we won't get to Colosseo, but we might be able to get that map in the next one. Joker, this was a really good matchup that we got today. More strength demonstrated from Hollidaysburg, but also that fierce resistance that you and I know Greater Johnstown is so very easily capable of. I think that this was kind of a matchup of those undefeated teams so far in the season. One of these teams had to lose at some point. So for the next matchup between Greater Johnstown and Hollidaysburg, they'll just be looking to use this series as a lesson and a framework exactly for how they're going to take down Hollidaysburg in their next matchup.
Yeah, and it was also just the matchup of 2 DPS juggernauts. We saw V-Snipes and River Galaxy just go toe-to-toe after and take blows and went blow for blow, pretty much. But in the end, V-Snipes did get the upper hand in predominant of the fights, and that's why Hollidaysburg are the champions of today.
Yeah, they have put on a really strong show, and hopefully, Joker, as well, we get a really good show from our next matchup. Coming to you guys on the other side of a short break will be the next series of the afternoon. It's going to be the Bishop Carroll Blue Team versus the Winburn Area Ramblers. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, it is time for the second matchup of the day, and well, we've got another team coming back from last year as well. Pretty much the entire squad from Bishop Carroll is back and ready for some action. Unfortunately, they did have to make two teams because their roster was just so massive, so they don't have the coveted Tommy duo any longer on this Bishop Carroll squad.
It's unfortunate, but yes, we are down to Tommy Yu, who's going to be playing DPS for us today. There's a lot of familiar faces here for you and I, Joker, on Bishop Carroll. There's a lot of familiar faces on Winber as well. I'm very excited for this matchup today. Taking a look at, I think, the roster here for Bishop Carroll. We've got Aiden on the tank role. Doing the damage is going to be Tommy Yu and Kenzie, and backing up the team as the support heroes, the healers, it's going to be Olivia and Josh.
Yeah, and then on it's just the team from last year, and then the Winber squad is going to be is Gage on the tank, Garrett and Dylan on the DPS. Garrett was a fantastic Hanzo player from last year.
Yeah.
Who really helped this squad out a lot going down the stretch. And then we got Aiden and Veronica rounding things out on the support line.
Should be an interesting matchup today here, Joker. Particularly interesting for Winber here, because if we're taking a look at the standings, Bishop Carroll Blue has yet to find their first win in the TEC High School League so far. Winber has already taken one win. We got to see it. I got to watch it with Julian last week, and it was quite decisive as well. So Winber's looking to continue their stampede through the TEC High School League, while Bishop Carroll looking for their first win. I think that this should be a relatively even matchup, kind of like the last one that we got to see. One of these teams is going to end up with an advantage over the other, but invariably we'll get to see those signs of life, that resistance that we got to watch from Greater Johnstown in our last series. We'll get to see that from one of these teams in this one.
Yeah, we definitely will. We definitely will indeed. And well, we're starting things off yet again on Nepal, and well, we saw double main tanks from both of these teams. Are we expecting anything different, or are we going to see the same tanks coming out here, Ethan?
I think that there's a pretty good reason to expect the main tanks coming back out. You might get a little bit of the Roadhog or maybe a Zarya for that elimination potential here heading into these control point maps, because ultimately the name of the game is you have to control the objective, but in order to do that, you got to get the eliminations as well. You got to get the enemy players off of the board, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see some of those kind of solo entry frag heroes emerge. But the fact is that historically here at TEC High School League, these teams haven't really adhered closely to the meta game, the heroes who are on pen and paper the strongest or the weakest, or work really well together. Ultimately, it's a lot of personal comfort and structure as well that the main tank brings to the lineup, that a lot of these high school players really enjoy playing around. You will get the Zarya here from Aiden for the Bishop Carroll Blue team. Meanwhile, for Winber, I don't know if Orisa is a main tank anymore. She was in the previous game. I still would say that she's a main tank, but definitely a little bit more of a brawler. So I'm very excited to see what Gage can get done on Orisa here in our first map, Nepal Sanctum.
We also get our first look of Kiriko of the day from Aiden as well. As should be interesting to see how they look to play this new hero, but it is going to be Garrett, who you're highlighting earlier on with that Hanzo play, starting things off, taking down Olivia early out on in this fight as they're looking to get on this point and insert their will, but it is going to be Bishop Carroll getting this first capture, but now the players are falling down in the favor of Winber as they've got everything they need. As there goes Dylan off the side of the map. That's not what you need right now, as they're looking to get this first the capture back into their place, as Carroll 5 Kenzie takes down Garrett, as this is still anyone's point, but it's looking like it's going into the favor of Bishop Carroll and getting all the picks they need. It's just the DPS left on point and the Kiriko, and they're no longer there.
No, and if Bishop Carroll really wants to push this aggressively, then they can get a stagger elimination onto Dylan of Winber, who actually goes in and probably dies. Yeah, dies for it as well. A little bit of a setback here for Winber as they commence the next engagement here in the choke.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Winber right now. They gotta shore up these things, and if they want to have really a chance at this getting this point. But Garrett's gonna come back. They've taken down Kenzie out of the sky, as they're looking to get on to this point for the first time, really, as they're forcing them back, but nothing's really doing yet. They're still positioned well, is Bishop Carroll. But now everything's starting up. They almost have the Kiriko rush online to open things up for Winber. But still, it's very back and forth. The attack visor is going to be the thing to open things up, however, as well as double support ultimates for Bishop Carroll. But they're going to come through. Ultimates on the board from everyone here as the Kiriko rush comes through.
Ooh,
and that's a huge play coming in from GG, man, on the Orisa, taking them down and opening things up finally for Winber.
That was a really good Terra Surge there from Gage, playing tank for Winber. Really, I mean, that really opened up the fight there for Winber. Made sure that there was not going to be any opportunity to resist, and it came in at the nick of time as well. You know, the tactical visor from Garrett had procced out both of the support ultimates from Bishop Carroll, which means you needed a hefty source of damage to eliminate the rest of Carroll off at this point. That Terra Surge was exactly what they needed, but now they have to find a way, Winber does, to mitigate the Graviton Surge that Aiden will be able to cast out.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see as the Graviton Surge has come out, but it only gets GG Man in it, and they're just going to be able to walk out of it after they fortify. They're looking to continue to hold on strong as Garrett takes out Carroll 2. That is Tommy Yu, but it is going to be traded out. They've gotten rid of the Kiriko on the board for Winber, but it's still looking good for Winber. They've gotten all the picks they need to keep alive and strong on point, but just as I say that, Aiden's taking down GG, man. They might be able to turn this back. They have a very high charge Zarya on point, doing a lot of damage, and it looks like it's working out well for the side of Bishop Carroll, but Garrett is going to find 2 picks of their own to keep things going in the favor of Winber.
You've got Josh and Olivia hanging around in the horseshoe here, unfortunately separated from Kenzie, who's unable to get the healing from those 2 supports who are really just waiting for the objective to be touched by the rest of their team before they converge on this objective. I don't know how well it's going to work, because really the name of the game is to get Garrett off of that position that they're currently playing in. You got to eliminate the soldier here, but hey, here's a full fight on the objective.
Well, Aiden's already found a pick in this fight, and Tommy Yu is off the side of the map. That is not what you need. They've got the stabilization, they've got the numbers, and there's only one person left on point as the overtime bar is trying to tick down for the side of Winber.
That's a nice move from Josh.
Point out as the Terra Surge comes through and takes down Carroll 3. Olivia out of this fight, and Winber take round 1.
Map 1 goes to Winber, and in a map that they did deserve to win there. Ultimately, maybe a little bit of a misstep there to kind of for the supports of Bishop Carroll to kind of hang around in that horseshoe. They were kind of trapped though. It was either die, which is never preferable, or wait for the team to engage. Ultimately, it's ultimately it's a small mistake in the presence of a really good first round from Bishop Carroll. So all they have to do is really just make sure that they're all playing together into this next map, and they should be able to even out this control point game mode, send us to a map 3, at least here on Nepal. Well, we'll see about map 3 for the whole series. But right now, part of the win condition here for Winber, which they've begun to find answers for, is dealing with Kenzie on the Farah, back in the skies on Nepal Shrine here.
We're finally seeing D.Va coming out from Bishop Carroll as well. Another more meta pick that we've seen in recent history, as it's just the easier, one of the easiest tanks to really peel for the rest of your team. But, well, you can't really do much when you get demeched early on in this fight by Dylan there on the Junkrat, as they're looking to keep a stabilization going, but Garrett has found out the Lucio, as Garrett finds 2 in this fight. That's make it 3 for the Winber Hanzo. Make it 4, as that is going to be the first fight in the favor for the Winber area Ramblers.
A really nice use of the wall climbing ability on Kiriko there from Aiden. Was able to get out of the sight line of Aiden on the D.Va. So they were just able to stay alive on that objective this whole time. Kenzie still on the Farah is going to be one of the best responses to Garrett on the Hanzo, who already lobs the Dragon Strike into this choke, forces Bishop Carroll to reevaluate the angle they want to push.
Yeah, as they're just going to force out, almost going down. Is Garrett going to be able to stay alive for the time being, thanks to the beam coming in from Veronica there, as they're looking to keep the stabilization going, but Dylan is super low right now. The healing is coming out from Winber, however, to keep them up and healthy and try to win this fight out. The self-destruct comes through, though, but it's not going to find anything. They do get the pick onto the Zarya, as they're going to be able to now open things up with the Coalescence, as well as Kenzie reigning from on high with the Farah and getting that team kill and getting the point in their favor.
Yeah, really good stuff there from Bishop Carroll to converge on the objective, find the targets that they needed to get out, and that was a really good coalescence there from Olivia as well. It was a little bit late, but it made sure that although there wasn't a lot of damage to deal with that ultimate, there was a lot of healing that needed to be done. So Olivia was able to perfectly sustain the team in the latter stages of that fight and make sure that Josh is able to build the sound barrier for the next one.
Yeah, as G-Man looking to GG-Man is looking to get in there, but
That's
Dylan is the one who's going to open things up with a 2-piece with the tire and the D-Mac as well. The res comes through and everything's looking up Winber as they're coming through and getting the point back in their favor.
But see, as opposed to Nepal Sanctum, this isn't a map where one of the teams has accomplished 99% of objective completion. So Bishop Carroll has not all the time in the world, but still plenty of time to retake this objective. The important thing for them is that these fights don't last too long, because every fight on the objective, one of these teams is still controlling it, still accruing objective progress. I'm eager to see Joshua's sound barrier here to make sure that the team stays in this fight for as long as possible.
Yeah, that is that is probably the win condition, but Kenzie's already out of this fight, thanks to some nice play by Garrett. They're going to try to turn it back. Olivia's gotten a pick on, both of the supports out of this. Oh my goodness, Olivia with 3 in this fight, as that is going to be huge for Bishop Carroll to get this point back into their favor. It's flipped already, and they're going to accrue some percentage.
Yeah, and Tommy, you killing it, or rather killing Winber on the Soldier 76, and ultimately Aiden still died there in that fight, but they were able. Their push was able to clear up enough space for the rest of Bishop Carroll to surge onto that objective and find the retake that they needed. It wasn't a costly fight for them either. That's the important thing. They didn't have to use so many ults to take it. Yeah,
that is huge to go forward, as now they're going to start things off.
Aiden
comes through, finding 3 is Aiden. The Coalescence is there as well, but they used all their ultimates in that fight there, did Bishop Carroll. That's not what you need. They did get the Kiriko Rush out from Winber, but still, that Graviton Surge is going to be huge coming back here, Ethan.
Yeah, and this is where Olivia might have wanted to have that coalescence, although you can't always mitigate all the damage that's done into the graph that we see on standby here for Gage. So right now, the idea for Bishop Carroll is just to find a pick, weaken their forces one by one for Winber.
As they're looking to pop it, that is going to be a pick. They take out the Mercy in the sky, and they don't get the value that they were looking for with that Graviton Surge. As GG, man, looking for something. Gage can't find anything, as this is all a Bishop Carroll in the kill feed, and they're going to be able to bring it to a round number 3.
This one's looking very close so far, Joker. Really good pushes from both of these teams. Obviously, Garrett and Dylan with the Hanzo, as well as Garrett being flexible enough to switch onto the hit scan style DPS hero, the Soldier 76, to help deal with Kenzie in the sky is really important. But Dylan has opened up these fights with the Rip Tires, and Aiden's Kiriko has not left anything to be desired. The revives from Veronica are so well timed. So for all the hype that we've been given in Bishop Carroll there in that round, there's a similar amount of energy there to capture from Winber. And as they swap compositional styles, I think this is the map here. Nepal Village is where things really start to get interesting here with Gage on the Sigma. It's a little bit of both styles of tank. You got the main tank, the barrier for your team to play behind, but you've also got that one-shot potential of like a Roadhog or a Junker Queen.
I'm just more confused about the Sigma pick with the Kiriko pick. You're normally going to play a lot slower with a Sigma. Instead, they're opting for one of the fastest paced hero when they pop their ultimate. Should be interesting to see how it works for them, but it's not working out well. Garrett is trying to keep it in the favor of a Winber, as they do get the D-Mech as well to come through. But as it's still, Olivia is still alive, finding picks as well as Josh, as Bishop Carroll have already gotten the capture percentage started.
Yeah, and this is really important on these control point maps, is to control that objective first, get that progress set up and building. Really good pick from Josh. It's just kind of unlucky that you ended up having 3 from Winber there on the high ground, ended up getting caught out. The rest of the team looking to engage through this choke, but I don't know that without the Kiriko, now is the right time.
Yeah, definitely not. But
now's definitely the right time, actually.
Yeah, Garrett picking out Josh's. Josh is going to be huge, and now they're going to be able to open things up. Olivia does get a pick back into their favor. Dylan is out of this fight, but Garrett on the point, just finding so much work done here, is going to be huge for the side of Winber to get this capture percentage ticking up in their favor now.
And Garrett putting in work on the Hanzo is definitely part of why I think we see Kenzie on the Pharah. They know that that Garrett's going to perform really well on the Hanzo, and that Pharah Hanzo matchup is one where Garrett's at a little bit less of an advantage. Although Garrett still somehow finds ways to headshot a Pharah out of the skies, which is nutty. And there's another headshot there onto Tommy Yu as well. Little unfortunate, but if you're going to get eliminated as a stagger, now's the time to do so. So that the rest of Bishop Carroll can wait for their engagement.
That's another pick coming through, however, from Garrett, and it's going to buy them more time. It should actually get them over the top of Bishop Carroll before a real fight goes underway here.
Yeah, for Bishop Carroll, when you lose someone, that's typically when you want to use your ultimate, right? Compensate for a man disadvantage, and they weren't in the position to do that. So now if they lose one, they're ready to take the fight on the point. This is where we'll see the fight break out and ultimates start to happen.
Yes, they are a lot of ultimates here to come through, and it is going to be Dylan paying for it with their life for the start of it with a Helix rocket, as there is the Dragon Strike coming through, taking out Tommy Yu, as it's still anyone's point at the moment here, as they're looking for more work to come through. The barrage comes through from Kenzie as they take out Garrett, and that should be Bishop Carroll getting this point back into their favor.
Really good hold there from Winber. They were able to buy so much time. Garrett able to buy a couple of extra precious seconds off of some pretty valuable eliminations as well. And now Dylan, in the midst of that fight, was able to build the last little bit of that tactical visor that they'll need for this next one. Here for Bishop Carroll, that was a really good engagement though. They managed to isolate Dylan and get him out of the fight. So if they can maintain that same level of target prioritization, then this point is theirs to keep.
Well, they're going to start things off. Kiriko Rush is now on the board, and everyone now a little bit quicker and a little bit more accurate. Garrett taking things down, and another pick as well onto the in the midst of a beat. Lucio, that is huge. That could have changed everything, but Winber are going to be able to get the point back in their favor almost immediately.
My heart goes out to Josh Joker. It feels so bad to play Lucio and get canceled out of your best ability, that defensive sound barrier that would have kept Bishop Carroll in that fight. Happens to me all the time, and now you just have a last-ditch effort to touch the objective and get this fight win.
Yeah, and it's not looking good so far. The Dragon Strike comes through from Garrett, finds 2 of their own, 4 without the that's a full 5K for the for Garrett, finishing things off strong for Winber and taking the first map.
Really good first map here from both of these teams. Early lead established by Winber off the back of some expert gameplay, really from the whole squad. Kind of spearheaded here by Garrett's Hanzo. That was a really good dragon cast there at the latter end of this match. And you know, most Hanzo players that I know, they aren't afraid of the Pharah. They think that they can head tap her, and that ends up not being the case. That is not true with Garrett. Garrett has no fear of the Pharah and can headshot her out of the sky. So Winber heading into the next map, which is going to be Junkertown. They can still run that Pharah, and I think Kenzie will end up. Kenzie, they'll end up being a little bit more free with how much space is in the sky. Nepal Village is still a good map for that Pharah pick, but Garrett still has so many angles to play as that Hanzo. He ends up being a little more limited by the next map type. But Joker, there's another advantage here to Junkertown for the Winber squad, and that's that long-ranged, more kind of poke damage until you get an Elim and then push aggressively. That's a playstyle that's very viable here on Junkertown.
Yeah, and we definitely have seen that from Winber. Specifically last year, they loved their Hanzo and Junkrat duo. We didn't really see much of the Junkrat from Dylan, however, but going for the probably we're gonna see it depending on especially it being Junkertown. We might see it, but I don't know. It's not as viable as something like a Sojourn or a Soldier is on this next map. We'll have to see. We only can guess. We'll only know when we get into the game.
Well, I mean, with the proclivity and proficiency as well of all of the Mercy players for all of the teams here at TEC High School League, you know, putting someone on the Soldier 76 or the Ash is also a really good call, just because of Mercy's utility to amplify damage. I think it's still 30%, which, if you ask me, is a little broken. But you know, as we talk about the heroes who are strong or not strong, it's really awesome for me to see a hero who is honestly not very good right now. Mercy kind of suffers considering how strong Lucio, Moira, Baptiste all are, and Ana as well. So Mercy kind of struggles, but we're still seeing a lot of value being attained by, I believe it's Olivia. And Veronica playing that hero in particular. So it's really cool to see them getting as much value as they are. It is a lot of fun here to see Bishop Carroll, to see Olivia falling back onto the Moira as well. I think that that's a hero that we didn't get to watch a lot of last season, Joker, because Moira at the time was one of the worst supports in the game, unfortunately. And so it's nice to see, you know, Coalescence, the purple damage orbs coming back out, and of course the massive healing potential that Moira has as well.
Yeah, like you were saying, we pretty much predominantly saw Baptiste, maybe a little Ana dashed in there, but it's nice to see some variety, nice to see some more gameplay, even though it's kind of I don't really like more gameplay, but Olivia has been popping off on that support this entire series so far, and I'm excited to see how they do on Junkertown.
Yeah, I think that one thing to look forward to for Junkertown as well is going to be the tank matchup. I think that we are getting a swap in here. I think that it's unless I'm wrong. And I guess we'll see either way. We're going to get a swap in the tank role here for Winber. So in any case, Aiden is still going to have to fall back on the D.Va, the Zarya, or any of his individual comfort picks. And I think that that's going to make for a really entertaining matchup in the front lines of both of these squads. So depending on who we get to see in the tank role for Winber, I think no matter what, you end up, even if it isn't against Gage, you end up with a pretty spectacular tank battle that'll happen.
Yeah, definitely. And it'll be interesting to see how the tanks approach this type of map. I really don't think I've seen much Junkertown in Overwatch 2 because, well, it was out of rotation, and as well as it's just not predominantly picked escort map. So I'm excited to see how these teams adapt to Overwatch 2 on Junkertown.
Yeah, in fact, if unless I'm mistaken, it was either out of the competitive rotation, which is where I spend most of my time, or it was recently removed to do some bug fixing by the devs. It might have been added back in yesterday, but you're absolutely right. It's not a map that I've seen a lot, Joker.
I think it was just added back yesterday with Bastion.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you can't have Bastion without Junkertown. You can't have Junkertown without a little bit of Bastion. We got to see it in our last series. I don't think we'll get to see it in this one here, but we do get to see Torbjorn. Kenzie has opted out of the Sky Battle and on to the best DPS hero in the game. Not Torbjorn himself, rather the turret that Kenzie will be able to deploy instead. Just great consistent damage, and it's going to be a great... it's going to be a great way to inhibit how aggressive WASD Sports 6, that is Dylan, now on the tank role, is going to be able to play on the Reinhardt.
Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of recent heroes back in the game, Torbjorn back in the game as well. But it will be interesting to see. Winber opting for the Reinhardt. They do both trade out here, but that is going to be a bigger pick going into the favor of Winber because obviously the res is there and keeping healthy. Aiden still alive now, as well as they do not have that Discord orb on the side of Bishop Carroll, as they're going to be able to continue to push forward. Kenzie now out of this fight. The DMAC coming in onto Aiden. That is everything's crumbling for Bishop Carroll right now.
They'll still be able to purchase a second fight here on this objective. It's going to be on Tommy Yu there for Bishop Carroll to eliminate WASD Sports 3, that is Aiden, on that Reaper, and they're able to do so. They end up trading in the process, but it's still kind of an advantage here for both sides. We surely see a contest of the objective, right? Yes.
Yeah, we do indeed. It's going to be Aiden on the D.Va. As they are going to, however, fall down, get demacked, as this should be the point captured in Winber's favor.
With a pretty hardy time bank to boot as well. They do find that capture. 5 minutes on the objective for the second point push, the streets phase. A little bit of a brawl happening here on the objective. I really want to see Aiden hop out of there, which they absolutely do. Found themselves in the line of the pin from Dylan, and now demacked. A little bit of a setback here for Bishop Carroll, but it doesn't take long to recharge that that D.Va mech. So we'll be able to see Aiden back at it here in just a few moments.
It would be very unfortunate if they got their mech back and then got re-demacked. But it does not look to be the case, or they're about to die before they can even get their mech back, and they do. Garrett gets that headshot kill onto the baby D.Va, as Winber continue with this blistering pace of their attack, not getting stopped on the second point.
Nice pick there from Kenzie with the tactical visor. A double kill, actually. A triple. All right, Kenzie.
I
75 HP in a dream.
I spoke a little bit too soon, it seems, as the respawns are going to come back. The self-destruct now coming in from over the top, looking for the picks, as well as the Dragon Strike coming through. The respawns are going to try to come through, but no, it's not, as the caster curse is, in fact, very real.
Yeah, and the curse of the Ajax to beat, as we call it, is very real as well. Gage had gone to proc the sound barrier, make sure that that Dylan could live a little bit longer, ultimately gets canceled out of it. So it's a really good stabilization here for Bishop Carroll, but Windber still has plenty of time, although they don't have their Lucio here for this next fight.
That is an unfortunate play coming in. No speed boost to boot, but they're gonna... Oh no, they don't get Kenzie out of this fight. The Transcendence comes through to keep them up and healthy through Garrett's Dragon Strike, and keep them up and healthy they do, because Aiden finds 3 picks of their own to wrap that fight up.
A little bit of a kind of a two-pronged attack there. It was really more of a response. Bishop Carroll kind of had the read on how Windber wanted to throw themselves at that fight, and even though it took both support ultimates, they were still able to thwart that push from Windber. Really nice, aggressive positioning there as well to make sure that that Gage. No, I'm getting it wrong. That Aiden gets eliminated from that fight.
Yeah, as now Josh is going to be able to get that first pick in the fight, and Windber is going to have to just back up here.
Yeah, it's just a reset. They end up using the Death Blossom. They use the Shatter as well, but ultimately...
Oh, no.
Dylan dies in the process. A little bit unfortunate, because we go back to this concept, Joker, of fights that are expensive, and you typically, for fights that you invest a lot into, you want wins out of those, and so sacrificing both ultimates there is a little disadvantageous, but ultimately I think it was all part of the plan here, because now we see Dylan on the Zarya, a better matchup against Aiden's Diva, so this probably ends up working in Windber's favor.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there, as, well, just as I say that, the picks go into the favor of Bishop Carroll. Garrett does take down Aiden, who was demaxed at the time, but it's still not looking good for Windber. They've got to do something, and they've got to do it quickly. It's down to 1 minute and 20 on the board. Garrett's still trying to make things work, but gets outdueled by the opposing Hanzo Tommy Yu, and they have to regroup yet again.
It's certainly a bold play to mirror the Hanzo against Garrett, but Tommy Yu is making it work, and look at this as well. Off of the Diva onto the Reinhardt, looking to brawl it out with Dylan. Aiden is now taking up the barrier and the hammer. Mr. Square Man of Overwatch, and hopefully going to be rounding out these fights in favor of Bishop Carroll.
Yeah, the barrier did not do much there for Josh, as the headshot comes through, but the Fire Strike as well as the Dragon Strike forces them back. GG Man's gonna have to respawn, but Garrett still finding picks, as well as a Dragon Strike coming through, finding out another pick as well. Garrett finally finding the picks that Windber needed to get this the cart back in their favor.
Yeah, and just at the right time as well, because you see there's only 10 seconds in the time bank before the round ends, unless Windber can capture this objective. Last-ditch stall effort here by the Transcendence, and now Aiden on the Wrecking Ball might bring Bishop Carroll back into this.
Yeah, as that's going to be a nice play coming in from Dylan, starting things off for Windber. The Coalescence does come through, takes out Veronica, but it might not be enough. The respawns, however, are there. Aiden swapped over to the wreck, taking out the Moira, but Garrett's still alive. Taking out another pick on to Olivia is going to open things up and finish things out for point number 2.
Really good stuff from the tanks and the DPS there for Windber, as well as the supports, making sure that they were able to provide as much to that fight as possible. But you know, it was Dylan, Garrett, and Aiden helping to clean up the remaining defenders of that objective. They buy themselves this 3rd-point push, and they also force changes out of Bishop Carroll. Now falling back onto the D.Va off the Wrecking Ball. You sacrifice a little bit of ult charge if you are Aiden of Winber, and as well, you got the Transcendence out from the defense. So this is advantageous here for Winber. They can capitalize on this as well.
They definitely can. They definitely can indeed. But things are going to be traded out immediately for both of these two squads. The anti-nades coming out now from Olivia, who swapped over to the Ana, is going to be huge. The coalescence, however, from GG Man is going to keep everyone up and healthy, as it's going to allow Garrett to just go run wild, looking for pick after pick. That's 4 for the Hanzo of Winber. The Dragon Strike comes through, as they're looking to just touch for any sort of time, but no, they're not going to even be able to, as Winber completes all 3 points.
Okay, so Winber wasn't quite able to make that blistering pace that that you and I talked about a little bit, well, before they got stymied there on Street's face, but they still are able to capture that 3rd objective. So really nice push there from Winber in the face of the opposition that they were up against for that 2nd point. Maybe due to a little bit of fun that that we wanted to have on a couple of different heroes, but Bishop Carroll with a hold that was that well executed. I think that the only challenge that they have ahead of them is really hitting this 3rd point and getting the objective through this last stretch here. If they can hit the 3rd point, then they put themselves at a really good position to be able to finish the map as well, and that'll send us into a 2nd attacking and defending round for both of these teams. At least for now, it's going to be up to Winber to defend as well as they can, and maybe even win out this series by preventing Bishop Carroll from accomplishing that 3rd point capture.
Now, this is interesting. So they're going for, Bishop Carroll seems to be going for more of a slow-paced style, but they're opting for the D.Va. Normally with the support line, you'd probably see a Sigma, but, well, we're just going to see the D.Va, and hopefully that works out well for Bishop Carroll, because if it does not, they are out of this series, and this is still a match point, Ethan.
Yes, I can tell you the D.Va's already, I think, a good pick because you've got Aiden on the Junkrat here, and that's a lot of damage that he's going to be able to toss into Bishop Carroll. So having the defense matrix, infinite damage mitigation potential, it's going to be pretty helpful, and it does allow this first fight to push past this open area and underneath this bridge here.
Yeah, as Baptiste, GG Man, going down super low for the time being, but Garrett finding the picks necessary are going to be able to pop people back to spawn. As Carroll 5, Kenzie looking for some sneaky little places to go with their teleporter, trying to get some damage with their sentry turrets, but right now, it's looking good for Winber, because yet again, Garrett finds a pick onto a support player of Bishop Carroll, as Aiden is in the backline looking for something, but can't find anything except a DMAC, as Winber continue to hold strong on this defense. Oh, if they lose, okay, they didn't lose him.
No, they don't lose Dylan there. Fortunately for Winber, although there's another push here from Bishop Carroll. They get punished for it. Kenzie ends up going down. I'm very interested by the Symmetra pick here on Junkertown. I don't think it's a hero I've ever associated with the map. That is a volley and a half as well there from Josh, and that's a huge pick to secure as well.
Yeah, another one coming in. That's going to open everything up now for Bishop Carroll to continue to push forward and get close to completing the 1st point of Junkertown.
Yeah, good stuff from Josh there. One of the things I was going to mention was that I'm very interested by the Baptiste matchup on both of these teams. Olivia on the BAP has had some really clean connections with that primary fire. Oh no, good bomb cast to get Veronica out as well. That's an unfortunate pick there for Winber. They're gonna have to yield 1st point.
Yeah, very unfortunate indeed. And like you said, they're gonna have to give up the point, and now something's got to change if you're a Winber. Yeah, Do they? Does it? No, I don't think really. They worked out well. It's just unfortunate picks, especially with that self-destruct came through. But the Amp Matrix now is on the board out from GG Man, but it's going to be countered out immediately by the Photon Barrier of Kenzie to push them back. Not going to be able to really get any value from that Amp Matrix from GG Man, as they have their own now. Not going to find anything really as well. The Transcendence is online. It's not being used at the moment, but it is going to be Aiden finding this first pick in the fight, as they're looking to continue this defensive hold for the time being, and it's looking good for Winbury. They've got the damage on to the attacking team, and they're gonna have to force back and wait for some healing.
I think Winbur's just playing a really smart position here against Bishop Carroll. They're just controlling kind of the backside of the objective, the latter half of the map of second point, and so it means that they're able to play safety of cover, but also allow Garrett to take these highly aggressive angles here on the top. You draw focus from Bishop Carroll by playing the objective, and that just means that your DPS players are free to play pretty much whatever positions they need to play to get damage in.
Ooh, the Dragon Strike is going to come through.
Nice
the Transcendence is there, but it's not going to be enough to keep Olivia up in this fight, as they aren't going to be able to continue to keep pushing this cart, as Garrett finds two yet again. A 4K coming in from the Hanzo of Winber. How many times have I said that today? Has just been so good on this Hanzo.
Yeah, and again, going back to having a Mercy player on any of these teams, it's a huge advantage to be able to revive people who have been taken out of the fight. So Veronica on this Mercy is going to be making ripples that become waves of impact here for Winber. There's still plenty of time here for Bishop Carroll, though, and as well, you've got Josh throwing volley after volley down these main angles, which if anyone is unfortunate enough to walk into, they're just getting burned out of the fight really quickly, just like Veronica did on first point. For now, it's going to be a matter of finding a way to get in to cast the bomb, and the Blossom bomb goes out, doesn't kill anyone though.
Yeah, it's going to get the Amp Matrix as well. The Dragon Strike comes through, it's taken out too. Josh and Kenzie are out of this fight. The Death Blossom going to be popped, but it's not going to find the value that you wanted. And that is going to be just a fight win in 2 sentences for the side of Winber. They only had to use one ultimate there, Thiethan.
Yeah, and so, you know, if there's anything that all of our viewers at home can take out of this series, it's that concept of expensive versus inexpensive fight wins and losses here. And that's exactly what has happened for Winber and Bishop Carroll, as with only a minute remaining in the bank, we see some of the most powerful abilities come out from Bishop Carroll. They're unable to take the win. Meanwhile, you have one ultimate used from Winber, and they do get that fight win. They're holding on strong to the objective. Bishop Carroll needs to find a way to break this defense, because if they can, they will make it all the way to the third point. We've seen that they're capable of doing it.
But it's not looking good right now. The Amp Matrix has come out from both of the two teams, but there's still that Graviton Surge in the back pocket for Dylan right now. They can find some massive value, and there it comes. There is the Graviton Surge out, but did anyone get caught in it? I'm so confused, but it's going to be the Riptire finding 2 of their own, as Garrett's still alive, finding picks for the side of Winber. It's down to 10 seconds left. It is just Olivia left on point, and not for much longer, as Garrett takes them out. Is anyone going to be able to touch? No, it's going to be Winber taking the map and the series in a 2-0 fashion.
Aiden was almost able to make it on the wrecking ball. Let it be shown for the record. Aiden almost was able to touch. Again, really good stuff from both of these teams. I am a little sad, Joker, because this looks like one of the most even matchups that we've gotten to watch so far here in these 2 weeks. I know those dragons are absolutely nutty from Garrett, and I was really excited to head to Colosseo, the push game mode. I was so excited to get to explain it, how it works, and really get into the nitty gritty of the push game mode, which I strongly disliked at the start of Overwatch 2. I've warmed up to it. Good. I've warmed up to it now. It's
love the push game mode.
It's still not Assault for me, which was one of the best ones.
No,
Uh,
it was
it's
the
one of the
worst
worst.
one.
But we'll have to wait, Joker, until getting to that third map.
Yeah. Today is not the day. Maybe next week. Maybe next week. But who knows? Certainly, I do not, because I am not a psychic, and so we'll see when we see. But what a good series. What a good 2 series of Overwatch 2 we've seen today, Ethan.
Yeah, Hollidaysburg, and oh goodness, I'm losing my mind. In Greater Johnstown, got to see some really fierce resistance from Greater Johnstown, but a really dominant performance there by Hollidaysburg. Again, kind of spearheaded by V Snipes' prowess on the DPS roster. We got to see a very similar series emulated in match 2 between Winber, that fierce resistance, but I'm sorry, Bishop Carroll, that fierce resistance attributed to them, but Winber just so incredibly strong as far as the individual abilities of each of Winber's players. So they're definitely, all the teams who got to play in the last season are looking to start off really strong. We're getting to see that so far. And the teams who are either new to Division 1 or new to the league in general are also looking to kind of set themselves as one of the teams to beat. So very exciting series that we got to watch today, Joker. My only regret is that we don't have any more.
Yeah, I know. I'm also sad because I'm going to have to end it off here. Thank you all for watching. It's been me, Joker's Ransom, and him, Lord Thethan. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.